valiant effort. Oh, good morning. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday, February 9th library meeting. I guess I need first a motion to call the meeting to order. Is that right? No, pronouncement of quorum. I am never going to get it. Is a quorum. Okay, so we do have a quorum. In fact, all of the board members are here. Elizabeth, Miles, Peggy, and Vicky. Staff, Kip and Stella. And we have Diana Eden is present. And Rick. And then we also have a visitor, Vicky. Oh, is Chemo here too? Oh, there he is. And Eliza is here from County IT. So we have a great forum, visitors. Would someone like to move? I'll move that we adopt the agenda of the February meeting. Vicky will second that motion. All in favor? Aye. I move that we approve the minutes of the January 15th regular meeting. Are there any comments? Second. I second. Elizabeth seconds. And we have no correspondence. Is that right? Yep.
That's correct. I had a dream last night that we did for some reason.
Nightmare.
I should not be dreaming about work, but
Imagine that. And no public comment. Oh, we also have Diana Peck online. I forgot to please have that. Lindsay, thank you. Oh, and I forgot to say Lindsay's here. I didn't see this stuff. All right, I guess we'll move on to the big topic of the day, our financial information and reports. And before we do, I just want to thank everybody for the hard work that Kip and Stella put into getting the budget together, and to our board members for putting the nose to the grindstone last night or early this morning, and making this all happen. So thank you, everybody. Kip or Stella.
the budget actually comes out later on the agenda. So
Yes.
this is regular monthly stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so good morning and thank you. I do have a couple of just points that I want to share. Regarding overall income. We're in pretty good shape with our revenue thus far this year. We have not had any revenue for our miscellaneous or grants income. However, our other revenue streams have been pretty much over or at as expected for this time of year. So we're, from this perspective, in pretty good shape. And as I pretty much say every month, our interest income is doing phenomenal. So come the end of this fiscal, we will probably implement what we've done in previous years, which is move the majority of the interest income to our capital reserve, but that's a few months away. Regarding expense categories, if you're looking at the expenditures and appropriations report, when I went to work on the fiscal 27 operating budget the other day, I noticed that our library staff salaries, which is that very first account listed on the report, was showing 6.65% used. And I thought, how could that be in 7 months? Because that's typically the account that is pretty much most accurate every month, or is where you project it to be. And so then Kip and I were looking at it and we realized that the year-to-date expenditures of just under 200,000 was clearly not accurate. Yesterday I did send an email question to Mo Murphy and a clerk in the county clerk's office, inquiring as to maybe what the error is. just to give you background, I did hear back from Mo yesterday evening after I had already submitted my report to you all. So in July, the county moved to a new HRIS system, which is our payroll timesheet accounting information system. In the process recently of folks receiving their W-2s, there was discovered to be an error. And so what I understand from Mo Murphy is the reason that our library report for expenditures and appropriations ending in January 31st is off for the staff salaries is related to that error in paper. So that will be corrected in the future with our report. So that's where this error is stemming from.
We are paying staff.
Yeah. So just to let you know. And then the other thing I want to highlight regarding this report is the capital reserve fund, which is listed on page 2. Item number 910-000000. In previous months, I had mentioned that this report was still showing the full capital reserve fund that had been budgeted for this fiscal year. Even though we had transferred that amount to our actual capital reserve account. Accounting wise, in the treasurer's office, that information had just not been changed on this report. And now as for month end of January 31st, that amount has been corrected. So now when you look at that line item, you will see it's at 100% expenditure, which is exactly how it should be because we transferred that full 50,000 in July to our actual capital reserve fund. So that's now been corrected on the report. So, and then in terms of other expenditures, we have 2 accounts that are overspent as of this point. One is library books and one is library media. At this point, I'm not concerned about those 2 accounts being overspent because if you look at the overall big picture of where the library is at for expenditures for fiscal 26, we seem to be in good shape. So obviously that's something we'll keep an eye on as you get closer and closer to the end of the fiscal year. But at this point, I'm not concerned about those 2 accounts being overspent because overall our bottom line, I think we'll probably still wind up a little bit under. So.
Can I just add something? And most of our money budgeted for materials is transferred to the state library where there is a large fund of money to continue to buy books. So I don't think we can't buy books any longer. The money is just on account of the state library.
And then I want to quickly talk about the capital reserve fund report that you have. So as a reminder, this is a report that I produce. And basically what I typically do under vendor is I list what expenses we had out of our capital reserve expense account for the previous month. In January, apparently we did not expend anything, so you don't see anything. However, I did note in here the correction to the expenditures and appropriations report for capital reserve so that you do see it looks like an amount of $71,269 was spent in January. Really, that wasn't spent. That was just the accounting journaling of that those funds being documented where they should be. So, and then also previous month, we did not have a balance received from the county treasurer in time for our meeting. And now we did have that balance received. So as of month ending January 31st, you can see we have about 19 million, I mean, not 19 million, sorry, 1.9 million in our capital reserve fund. That stated, we do have a lot of projects lined up. And in fact, in January, Kip and James Smith and James Silva and I all met to discuss our capital projects that we have for the next several years. So We are hoping that we can start to refund or fund our capital reserve back to the amount that we were funding it every year, but we'll talk about that when we get to budget discussion. That's pretty much it I have for the regular monthlies. Does anybody have any questions?
Everybody good? Yes.
Thank you, so.
So next we'll consider the payments of library vouchers. Can someone like make that motion, please? I'm updating the number now. I also have it. That's all. So then, Julian. I see, I move to approve payment library vouchers. Oh, it's in the amount of $42,985. Second?
Second. I second that.
50 seconds, all in favor? Aye. Now it's Kip's turn. The
I will go through it quickly because we have guests who would probably like to get out of here. Couple of things to highlight in the monthly report. Seems to be in there every month. We are continuing to move departments around and finish the staff moves. The front office space is in progress, moving collection services to combine them with circulation services. And then, why can't I think of the word, facilities, will be moving into the old collection services space, which probably, hopefully, maybe before spring break, we'll have a new meeting room for the public available, which is the old facility space.
Where exactly is that room? Is it behind the front desk?
No, it's right next to the foundation office.
Oh, there. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Did that used to be a meeting room? Then it got.
it's been facilities as long as I know. Anybody remembers, but it probably wasn't designed to be for facilities. I would guess was probably supposed to have been a meeting space of some sort. But I think IT is ready with the equipment and everything, so it will be a nice addition for the public. And then staffing changes at the library. We've had a couple of changes. Kayla in youth services used to work in or in collection services, and that's sort of where her passion lies. And there was an opening, so she applied for that opening, and is youth services and collection services are kind of having a little fisticuff right now as to when they get to take Kayla. Full time right now, we kind of need bodies in both places, so sort of a shared position until we get the youth services position filled. But we're coming up on spring break when everybody's off and summer reading, and so there's lots of things coming up that to make sure we have that position filled soon. And then our circulation services supervisor, Stephanie Franco, announced her resignation last week, 2 weeks ago almost, and she's moving on to pursue other things, and we wish her well. And we are going to be posting that position probably today or tomorrow. It's an important role for the library. Leadership discussed some opportunities this week, and we felt that filling that position was important. Some of the, as it merges with collection services, and we look at other things, there may be changes around the position, but the position itself is very important. And so we'll be filling that, but some of the work associated with that department may change a little. All the regular stuff is in there.
Go back to space planning, 2 questions.
Yeah.
One, how staff morale with that? That's a little difficult with shifting around. And number 2, I know the facilities office currently that will become an office space is a little kind of tucked around the corner, are there any issues with safety or whatever, because I know the meeting signs for full transparency, so I'm just asking the question.
We have talked about having a window in the door that's there, or replacing the door with a window. I'm not sure, maybe Rick can address some of that.
Yes, so we did have a discussion about making it see-through, and we haven't come with, we haven't really put out for, we're gonna go with a whole glass door, or try to cut the existing door and then install glass door. So we'll catch up about that. That's the interesting one. I did have a brief chat with Tom Pennery, who was a cabinet maker, and we're gonna. It'll become, or the answer to that, become, but it should be.
Yeah, my recommendation. See, exam was responsible for you guys will have a system that, but I know that's.
And yeah, so whether we go with like a glass door that's pre-built, or if we cut the door and then put a full piece of glass in, that's something that I was chatting to me about. Yeah, we was gonna.
Yeah, I think we're talking about a little bit better with that. Not sufficient.
Yeah, no, it would be, the plan would be to be the majority of.
Thank
The
you.
question is, the structure of that door that's on there now, can it handle being cut? Where there's just a small piece of wood. It is a solid door, so that's good. And then if we put it into the clamps inside, basically clamps.
That's cheap.
But I agree.
So I think that's pretty good.
Cheaper and I'm well, the best use of money, so I'll avoid cheap, but I'll go with inexpensive. And cheap scares me, and just to catch on the word. But what concerns me is that the door itself might kind of settle if it's not pre-built like that. So I'm a little sketchy on cutting it and putting a thing. But so we'll get there.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Can I ask you a first question? About that one. So in regard to that, I've been very, very hands-on throughout the office process, the workstation process. I notify staff 7 days prior, 4 days prior, 2 days prior, 4 hours prior. I then done a single column to people to share their copy to see if they can follow the life. Ultimately, but that it's not a state worksheet.
Thank you.
I can add a little to that. I would say that staff is probably frustrated at the slowness of the move. It just because of everything that happens in this building and other issues arise, it's kind of dragged on much longer than it probably should. So I guess that there's some frustration around that. In the back office space, lighting is an issue for staff, trying to figure out the lighting. Everybody has a different lighting need. And some is, affected by just their physical reaction to some of the lighting overhead and stuff. So we're trying to work through some of that, what we can do in the immediate time frame. As you know from last month, we are doing a lighting project, so that will change some of that. And then there's some organic things that we're hoping will happen, like having some of the work groups together, that there will become something more out of some of that, that the programmers may start working together more. I know that the foundation and Julie and Youth Services have been working on what outcomes and impact reports might look like. And so there's an opportunity for programmers to sort of start to work together around those kind of reports. So that's some of the other stuff.
Thanks for hanging in there. A question for Kip. Yes, thank you.
I have a comment and a question. The first, you sent it in an email, so it's not in the staff report, but I just wanted to compliment the partnership with Jacksonville Food Rescue and the fact that you're, I think the program's called Food for the Community in the
Yes.
parking lot. I'm so glad to see that. I feel like it really supports the mission of the library, so.
We have a great relationship with them with the Scrapmobile. We did a lot of things with them this summer, with the summer lunch program and everything, so they're great to work with. And when they approached us about outgrowing the Grove space, it seemed like, of course, why would we say yes?
Yes.
And Stella went out on Tuesday and most of the food was gone in 5 minutes.
5 minutes,
You gotta
yeah,
be there 5 minutes before. If you want.
Wow.
yeah.
I know they did stay till after 6 o'clock and there was few remnants that the staff member didn't take with her, so. But mostly it's.
Thank you again. My question, I really appreciate the programming table that we see every month, the library stats, so thank you. Something that jumped out to me that I'm curious about is in regards to the Spanish programming. And I have my hunch, but I'm curious to why we've seen like a drop in half the programs offered, half the attendees from, year on year. I'm curious.
It's related a lot to what you probably suspect.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
Patty was seeing people not showing up for some programs. She's made some changes. Much of her work right now is focused on the schools and those programs. So we also had language exchange that it's kind of, I guess, sort of like hiatus until CWC. She's working with CWC, and they're going to have a language program here.
Okay.
Not here, but here at Teton County. And so, but a lot of it is probably related to suspect.
So I'm guessing the hope is if people start feeling safer, the library will meet the need that returns again.
I would hope so. I know that Julie and Patty, Julie's Patty's supervisor, are discussing some of this and trying to come up with clear answers as to why.
Thank you.
Can I just make a comment about that?
I have a question.
It's non-library related, except for Rome. But when I'm out and about shopping or out for a meal, the staff in those places is completely different than it was. So it's not surprising that usership here is different.
My question is there any kind of a timeline for when CWC might take over those language exchanges or?
I don't know the answer to that. I haven't asked. So I can find out for you. If I think of that right now.
I'm interested.
Their last language exchange program, I don't think got fulfilled. It's
You probably don't. But. All right, any more questions for Kip? Okay. Diana picks us up next. Hi, Diana.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Because the video is completely frozen on you all, and I suspect on myself as well.
No, you're
moving.
You're doing. You're moving.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Well, I've been hearing you pretty well, but not able to see you very well because it keeps freezing. I just have a couple. My report, as you hope you all received it, was very brief. We are just super excited about our first attempt at our first effort at advocacy for the library. We loved the opportunity to partner with the library and Better Wyoming Jackson Hole International Film Festival to host that librarian screening on January 27th. We were thrilled to see almost 400 in attendance, and we received just a ton of positive feedback from folks. I think the biggest takeaway, a couple of big takeaways were one, many folks did not realize, I think, the potential threat to libraries and freedom to read. So it felt like a wonderful educational opportunity, as well as an opportunity to give folks a way to take action in support of the library and in support of their freedom of information and to read. So we are just thrilled with the way that turned out, and hope you all appreciated that and attended and felt the same. And then the other thing we're working on right now, as Kip mentioned, is that we're starting our library funding committee work, which is to start preparing for the fiscal year 27 budget season. And I've been working with Julie and with Kip on just how we want to talk about outcomes and impacts of our current fiscal year's library programs, and whether or not, what programs are going to be renewed for the next year, and then also any new initiatives that might be coming up. So that process is starting now, and we're really looking forward to working with the library and library staff on the new budget for the next fiscal year.
Great, thank you, Diana. I just want to say, I think I speak for all the board, that we also love that librarians and the attendance, and it just felt like such a critical and important thing that we were able to do thanks to you, and we are really grateful. And please let your board know that yes, we felt, as you did, that it was a really impactful and important program to offer the community. So thanks so much.
And the panel was amazing.
The panel was amazing.
And following it up with the Better Wyoming training was so smart. People were really passionate, and then they wanted to be able to take action. And I thought it was a fantastic workshop as well. Thank you.
I agree. It was, that was, Leah working on that program. And I just felt like the collaboration between all the organizations was so meaningful. And Nate Martin of Better Wyoming really brought so much expertise around advocacy. And I agree. His panel discussion was top notch. We heard from some folks via email that one of them said, she's attended a number of panel discussions over the years, through many organizations, and felt this was one of the best she'd ever seen. So we too are so grateful to Nate and to Leah, and the workshop the next day, the advocacy training workshop. Really, originally I think they had like 35 folks registered, and then after the librarians screening, that jumped to over 80 some folks registered, and then they ended up having about 115 show up that night. So it was incredibly engaging, and I agree, all around, just a great program.
Did all of you guys attend that screening, that librarians thing? I'm really sorry I couldn't. I tried to watch it and all I could get was the trailer. So I'm gonna talk to you about possibly resending.
It doesn't work any longer. You'll have to get it through PBS Passport now.
Okay, I didn't tell me that.
I do have a question, if possible. Diana, this is Elizabeth. I'm not sure if you can see us, so just to clarify. Regarding the budget, and this may be a question for both you, Diana, and Kip, but when looking at the Spanish collection kind of line item, I noticed that there's $2,100 remaining in that budget. And I was just curious if there are plans to, use that in its entirety this year. Maybe a question as to how patrons can make sure that happens. So would someone go in and make a request online for certain books?
It may not be reflected as expended yet. Julie and Patty did recently meet and talk about spending the money on collections and getting that done. Patty we need more than one Patty.
Sure.
And so it's just trying to focus and get tasks done. And so
Thank
they
you.
did meet to talk about expending the collections.
Thank you.
So,
A friend had mentioned that she would love to see more Spanish language books, and I don't know if I necessarily, well, of course, I'd always love to see more, and I said, well, if you could provide public comment, you know, or if you could go online and request some, I think that would be especially useful, so I'll encourage her to do so, but thank you, I'm so glad to hear that.
I
Thanks,
also
Elizabeth.
just want-
Oh, go
Thank
ahead.
you. I also wanted to just point out that next week, the author illustrator Christopher Dennis will be here. And that's thanks to the foundation as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and on the Spanish, on most of the spending, it's about this time that we will start meeting with the various program coordinators and also like Patty and collections to just do it, you know, just touch base about the current fiscal year spending and what we can expect over the next few months as we round out this year. And I agree with you, Elizabeth. We, the Foundation and Friends, we do have a board member who is really interested in also ensuring that we have more Spanish language books in the Book Nook, even as available at low cost to patrons who want to, like when we had the holiday gift sale and they want to perhaps buy books as gifts. You know, we sell the books in the Book Nook for $2 or $1 or $4. And so she actually made an investment in purchasing a small collection of Spanish language books that obviously we're going to take a loss on because the whole point is to try to get you know, get those in the hands of more patrons and library users. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we're more successful in doing that.
Fantastic, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Any more questions for Diana? All right, we'll move on to the accessible workers. And that is
So. So we've had a project planned for Alta Branch. And it looks like we have some traction now. And we have a bid for it. So we want to install automatic door openers at the Alta Branch. Currently, there are no automatic door openers, so accessibility is a problem on that side. We went out to 3 companies with the request for proposals, and we got 1 bid back. The bid that we received back is from a company that we worked with before, who changed our gallery bathroom automatic door openers here in Jackson, and they were easy to work with. It's good value, and their service has been fantastic. So funding for this would come through Capital Reserve Fund, where we have $25,000 allocated. To get 4 of the doors done, which would be the real key in the flow of the building. And then adding the electrical work into it, we will come over the 25,000 by $619. And my suggestion is, I think we can find that $619. We've had other projects come in under budget, which is good. So my suggestion is that we go with overhead door company of Riverton with the proposal that we received. And then we'll also get the electrical done. That's going to be done on a time and material basis, but we have the figures for that, so they're pretty solid.
You think it's gonna be $25,619?
Yes,
It's pretty good.
I think it. And for the value that we get out of it, that service that we'll get out of it, I think it is the way to go. So that'd be my suggestion on moving forward.
Is the bathroom door just a gender neutral single bathroom?
Yes,
Not 2 different?
correct. Yes.
any other questions? Thank you.
bring my staff report with me. However, thank you. Just to give you all background on this IT support agreement. In years past, the library had its own IT department. And then due to eventually there was nobody left for the IT department. At this predates Kip or I or chemo. But at that point, when there was no longer IT staff in the library, there was an agreement made with the county IT department to have the then county IT manager oversee IT here at the library like they do with all other county departments. And also part of the agreement at that time was that there was a rotating shift of the county IT technicians. At that point in time, there were 3 technicians. And so one technician would come over Monday through Friday for 3 weeks at a time, be here based here to help the library. They would rotate off. The next IT technician would be here for 3 weeks at a time. They would rotate off. At some point during that support agreement, it was decided that the library would invest in hiring an IT administrator. And then with the future goal of eventually having an IT tech in the library. But also recognizing that the resources within the county were not there to eventually build up a complete library IT department. And at this point in time, from what Kip and I have discussed over the last few years, we don't see that there is the financial resources for us to build up a complete IT department such as existed here many years ago. So there was this IT support agreement made between the library and county IT. Again, this predates us. Also, I mentioned that when we had the rotating technicians, James Chemo was one of our rotating technicians. So that's how we first got to know Chemo. So, so the first IT support agreement, as I understand it, was made in March of 2020. In 2021, it was reevaluated, and it has not been reevaluated since then. And that is why we're bringing it to the table now. It's just time. As our IT administrator has gotten more comfortable in their role, and as we've worked through some things with the county in terms of networking and so forth, it was just time to relook at that IT support agreement. And so the reason Eliza Dunn is here is that she is, of course, in her role as the enterprise manager for the county, has been active in working with us on this agreement. We meet monthly. Part of the support agreement that occurred was that we do meet monthly virtually, first Wednesday of every month. And so we've definitely talked about this agreement. We've also worked on it independently, virtually, back and forth, and so forth. And in terms of technical issues, oh, and I just noticed I had a misspelling of James Silva's name under stakeholder. My apologies, James. In terms of technical aspects to the agreement, I'm going to let Eliza speak to that because certainly that's more her wheelhouse than mine, or it is hers as well. So I'll let.
Thanks a ton, IT manager. So maybe this agreement just reflective of the new collaboration that's been happening between Timo's team and my team, delineating like exactly what we're doing versus what their team is doing. And also we have some plans to work on separating our networks a little bit. Some of my predecessors kind of intertwined our networks a bit too much, and it introduced some risk for the county. So we'll be working over the next couple of months to reduce that risk and also give Timo's team a little bit more autonomy, making changes in the network. So that's the plan. And so this is, of course, still needs to go to the commissioners and has to do a training review, but I'm going to recommend that we move forward with this. And then as things change and the library needs change, then maybe we have necessary to get here. I'm here for any questions.
Are there other Teton County departments that have a similar agreement versus the first?
This is the only one.
Interesting.
So
You
there are
foresee that?
obviously other IT departments, there's TOJ, there's CSO, Sheriff's Office, and our IT. But the agreement wise is just us. And the biggest reason being is staffing. Whatnot, and, you know, at the end of the day, IT folks need, I can come to it, so, that's really they're there to support us too as well. And
Yeah, so we support most of the other, all the departments under the Board of County Commissioners, and then we also support various elected offices. And the only elected office we don't support is the Sheriff's Office. They have their own IT. That's an option for each elected office, but most of them have chosen to use the centralized county IT because of cost savings. And definitely the investment resources to build out an entity to them. So it can be very pricey, and also it's difficult to find skill sets. Limited population and where they're moving somebody as well. So.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. We're happy to help. It's been great partnering with you. So, and we look forward to continue the relationship. I believe Kip and Stella would like to continue the relationship at least for a 3-year term rather than if you live on any kind of basis. So I seem like they're happy with service out of
One of the things that I noticed, the accounting with the library is incredibly beneficial. I can see that we're working with the county in that way. There have been some hiccups, and so I assume that also you're gonna need to work through some things, or do you think maybe less so because of the nature of this?
I would say I agree with you that they're, just from talking to you, they're having some challenges in the past. Over the past, I think you're now, year and a half, we need a lot of strides in building that communication. So I think like to comment on it.
I can tell you that since the last time we spoke in, even just with the last week and a half, we are finally starting to streamline a lot of our processes of dual access, our access in general. I'm still just keeping an eye on all of the time, like streams that we have live, just. It'll be a lot of us.
Thank you.
I like the comment that IT departments need help too.
Forget that.
Yeah,
I have IT folks that I have.
Yeah.
yeah,
So.
yep. I would certainly be in support of the motion.
Okay. I think any more questions for Stella or Liza or Chemo? Any more questions? We're good? Okay, we're ready for a motion.
Okay, I move to approve the IT support agreement between Teton County Library and Teton County Information Technology.
Second. We have a second. Second.
Miles, Peg,
We'll give it.
everybody.
Give it to- Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, Elisa.
Thank you.
Very easy for
We'll
having-
then go to, at least we'll have to take it to the commissioners to approve.
I'll have to
Yeah,
get,
there's
so Keith will review it and then.
Yeah.
I'll present in the staff report and I'll make sure I'll let you know the dates. So you
Okay.
can there. So, great. Thank you very much for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you for coming.
So I might make note then, I believe in my narrative or my staff report, I wrote that there was no legal review. So just so we're aware that that should have been otherwise noted.
Well, all right, we didn't, but
Oh, got it.
she'll have legal review.
Okay.
Kip, are you going to speak to the Sunday Youth Survey?
A little bit, just a little bit of background. We have been open. Historically, we've been open on Sundays. I'm not sure how far back in time, but COVID, we kind of lost Sunday hours. And then we brought them back, but we don't really know, we didn't really have an idea of who was using the library on Sundays. So we wanted to find out who was using us on Sundays, but also having in the back of our mind, the budget issues that are looming out there if the legislature continues to pass property tax reform. Or eliminate property taxes altogether, or whatever they end up doing. But Sundays being one of those, when we don't know who uses it, it's only 4 hours, should we have Sunday hours, things like that. So we did a short survey that we only asked people in the building on Sundays to participate in. And so the results are that Sundays is fairly low usage kind of day in terms of numbers. But overall, the impact of Sunday use is pretty high. Those people who do use it mostly depend on that day of the week. And so it's an important day that we offer. It doesn't have big numbers, but our strategic plan, our mission is to serve the community in every way we can possibly do that. And even if we're serving a small number, Sunday does have an impact on our community. And so the survey highlights that. There were some requests of patrons be open earlier, be open all day, be open later. Those are all variables that if you shift earlier, if you maintain 4 hours, say, if you shift to 10 o'clock, you might, it's likely you're just sort of moving people around. You're just gonna get a different group of people, but probably not any more people. So I don't know if there's a recommendation really to do anything here right now. It's information. We're waiting for the legislature to do whatever they're going to do. But we have some information, in our pocket, should we ever need it. I would say right now, if everything the status quo, I would recommend we continue to offer Sundays at the level of service we currently do. Any changes would require, it would be a greater expense. We would need more staff if we expanded beyond what we currently do. So I think where we are is benefiting the community.
Yes, is there any staffing, like feedback or folks? Like, because it's a shorter day, like
Most of the staff,
decided to work Sundays or?
it is, we do ask for volunteers who would like to work Sundays. Usually we've gotten enough people who are interested in shifting their schedule. We haven't had to say we have to work Sundays. But everybody who gets hired knows that, the schedule is set by the library. They might have to work a Sunday. But right now we have enough staff who meet the needs for Sundays, and most of them work close to a full day, so they'll have some project time writings before we open.
And are there services that aren't open, like passport services or things that are like always closed on Sundays?
Yes. We did talk about having passport services because one of our agents does it on Sundays. But it becomes difficult if that person is happens to fall out sick. You have to cancel them and offering, so it becomes kind of difficult based on just staffing.
I think this is really helpful, should we need to pivot. My question, not to complicate things, but there are some wordings on here. Basically later start, so that's not for us to answer now, but is there a more in-depth, rather than picking on Sundays, is there a more in-depth look at how things could shift should we have to? So just to put that out there.
I can only anecdotally, why can't I say that word? Mornings, 9 o'clock tends to be fairly quiet unless there's something going on, maybe in here. there have been suggestions of shifting to a 10 o'clock opening or a 9:30 opening. In the past, we've been open at 8:30, right? It, I mean, obviously, and it's hinted at here, the other days are much busier. As the day progresses, the library gets busier, so the morning, we have been, since Bella and I have been here, we were open until 8 o'clock in the evening. And that was, I mean, much quieter than even the 9 o'clock in the morning. It was as soon as, really after 6 o'clock, the building starts to get very quiet, unless there's programming here. And 7 to 8 was dreadful. People, it's,
Yeah.
when you ask the community what they would like, everybody says they would like a lot of things. Whether they actually use them or not ends up being a different reality. And
I just went to the Community Foundation, their offices, and they have this is a space planning issue, we pick it up someday, but they have this really interesting lock off where you can go to those meeting rooms, bathrooms, off so that, there's almost this like little side area for specific uses. So I don't know, it's not, the building's not designed for that, I get it, but
well,
it might be something.
some of that is what we are, I mean, we are able now to have this space open after hours and before hours. The lobby with the coffee cart, Snake River has some ideas of expanding from a cart to a kiosk that would see the lobby space open earlier in the morning. So it makes it doesn't open the rest of the building necessarily. But I know in the past, it has been talked about having, the building open, you could do self-check. There might be one body around, but not providing good services. Some of it gets a little tricky and
Do the two interior doors, the front door to the main library and the side door to your main library, because they lock now.
Yeah.
So you can.
Yeah.
So it's kind of. It is something that's on. Yeah, these are things to keep on the radar, I think.
You led me to one of my questions, which was about the coffee station. But
That's my job.
I
always
asked
ask about the
what do they call it here? They're like a vibe enhancer. And I do think it's a vibe enhancer. And just a question, I feel like it's something that's still being figured out. And could you remind me, are there set days and hours, or might that become more clear? Because I have meetings and people are excited for that vibe enhancer.
There are supposed to be set days and hours. They have had some difficulty with just maintaining staff or having reliable staff. Right now it is, I believe, Monday through Thursday, or is it Tuesday through Friday? It changes too. They have hired an architect to look at what a kiosk space might look like. And that would come with more staff and more regular hours. So probably better hours than we currently have. Because people always want something when it's not there.
That's Snake River Roasting that we put that kiosk in, right?
Yeah.
I noticed that hours and the days were missing from the website, so I assumed that we can't publish it because we don't have set, days. So Dave.
And as soon as I do, something will happen. We'll get together.
Thank you.
I try to get them to let us know if they're not going to open or if they're delayed or something. It's hit or miss.
So now. Are we agreed on time? 10:30, we're gonna talk about the budget. So that's now. I assume the cell as well.
All of us. It's a group conversation here.
Okay.
So the guidance from the commissioners this year was to bring in a flat budget, some interpretation of what flat may mean. For me, flat means we're not cutting services, that we're maintaining the same level of service as we currently have. So you will see some increases in some of the line items. Wages are sort of, I mean, they're our purview, but they're not calculated by us. Wages are calculated by the clerk's department, which is where payroll falls. And so the numbers you see there are provided by Murphy, the county clerk. They do not include any merit or cost of living increases at this time because the commissioners haven't voted on.
Can, hold up a minute, Diane, are you having trouble hearing? Diana Peck.
Oh, you're muted, Diana.
I'm having no trouble hearing at all. The video is bothering me because it's constantly freezing. And sometimes you guys black out completely, but the audio is perfect. I can hear everything.
Okay,
Okay, good.
he did replace the camera, so I don't know why it's.
Like that at my house.
All right, good, sorry.
So, the consultants that the county works with on determining wages has recommended a 3% cost of living and a 3% merit for next year, in keeping with what the market suggests is happening. But they have not voted on that as the final thing yet. So you'll see what's here is what wages would be on July 1st of 2026. So I think it's probably easier for me to answer questions you may have because there's not a lot of changes in the budget otherwise. Everything is pretty much meeting whatever our contracts are in place. Books and materials, we don't want to see a decrease in our buying power, so we have increased those by what publishers are indicating cost increases might be next year. Some of the utilities, we know what to expect next year in that area, so you'll see those numbers reflected here. One of the only ones that's a major uptick from this year is equipment, and some of that is due to the need for a backup server, some additional staff laptops that we did not acquire this year, and some other small equipment needs in the library.
And yeah,
Yep.
I actually have some further information on that Chemo shared with me yesterday because this part, excuse me, equipment is a budget that is shared amongst both facilities and IT. But yesterday, Chemo shared with me that due to the growth of all of the AI companies, there's now some shortages in the computer industry regarding RAM, regarding materials, and so forth. So part of the increase is due indeed to the tariffs that we're now getting, but also part of this is an outcome, I guess, due to the growth of AI is now impacting other equipment and so forth available, I guess, in the computer industry. So
As part of our monthly meeting with county IT, Lisa was saying that she's never paid more for a workstation than she's being asked to pay now. That's over $1,700 for just a basic computer workstation now. Because of tariffs and the AI piece.
I have a question.
Yeah, the only other thing I would highlight is capital reserves.
Yeah.
They've asked us to come in flat or level I'm uncomfortable going a second year of not funding capital reserves. There's a lot of issues in the building, or will be, a lot of projects, and we want to be able to continue to give the community the building they deserve, and not let our buildings look like some of the other county facilities, to be honest. So I think we need to go back in. It's gonna be hard to ask for them to make up the loss of last year, but I think we can certainly jump in and say we really need to be funded at 150,000 this year.
It seems fair too, because there are so many areas where you're saving money over this year's budget. Yeah, so go for it. We just had one question. Things are kind of bumping around. I was pleasantly surprised that a few of the line items, quite a few came down. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but health insurance came down.
That one kind of bothers me.
Okay,
I
me
don't
too.
know.
If you don't check that out.
That is provided by Clerk Murphy. And
Seems it's a lot.
that whole workforce plan will change a number of times between now and budget approval. What we discussed last year is not what is actually some of the numbers that ended up in that spot for the current year we're in. So it will change again, I'm sure.
But you didn't change the plans as far as you knew.
Well, I know that I know that they did find, they changed the provider for a lot of the add-ons. So a lot of things are through Voya now than other companies that they used. And they said that by making some of the changes, they didn't have to put anything back on the employee to pay, but I don't know why it's so much lower, because they said overall health insurance itself was up in double digits. So
But looking at the insurance rates memorandum that you sent, you've got what appears to be a relatively low family and single coverage for county-only departments, but why is it so huge for not for joint and special fund? 458 versus 2,642.
which is what we pay. If there's some sort of back of house adjustments that get made where we don't.
Well, that higher coverage amount, which is what you guys pay, and I assumed that does not look wrong for the way insurance has gone up. I'm hearing that from people who are on ACA or other insurance privately. But it is outrageous. No matter what. Even Medicare has gone crazy.
We would still ask that calculation is correct.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the budget?
Just the 2% of wages, training and travel. What is that? Like each employee has to allocate that percent of their funds, or this is a large pot that pays for anyone's travel?
What we do is we take just the wage part, your hourly or monthly wage, exclusive of benefits, and we calculate 1.5% of that total as training for just library staff, and 0.5% of that amount is 2%, and the county HR keeps that 0.5% for county-wide trainings.
Right, so it doesn't come out of staff's
No.
pay, it's just allocated to
Yeah.
provide the training.
Yeah, we calculate the percentage, and
And I think I got this right, that this year the foundation paid those costs for us,
The
but next
county,
year we pick it up again.
the county
Yeah.
funded in-state and in local travel or local training. Anything that required us to go out of state, the foundation did pay.
Okay.
And I believe it's about $15,000 is what the foundation has provided this year. But I think the commissioners found it hard to not travel out of state. So they have asked to put it back.
How do staff feel in general about, the opportunities for training? I feel like in every staff report, it looks like a lot of people are utilizing it. I don't recall if we use the full budget, or I'm just curious.
It seems that if anybody is interested, I mean, a lot of trainings are suggested for people to take. There's a lot of free trainings available that people take. When it comes to traveling somewhere, some people don't want to travel. There's, so we have enough, and I don't know that, I mean, if somebody asks for something specific, we can provide that, and certainly encourage people to seek out training opportunities.
Thank you.
And I don't think anybody's been denied anything that didn't fit within their, just good with their works.
Are there any carrots associated with seeking out training? Like merit pay increases that they can get if they do like extra credit?
Unfortunately, I believe fire, maybe sheriff, it's built in that if you get this kind of training, you might get an extra whatever, a year hourly rate wage. But the library doesn't have that. It's fairly specific to certain professions.
And I see that you present the budget to the board of county commissioners. You do that, Stella, can you present?
I do, if it's how they set it up. They have set up the process differently almost every year I've been here. Last year, I believe, if we didn't ask for anything new or different, we didn't have to go and present to them. I'm not sure what should it be. It's still always nice to kind of go and just be seen.
Yep.
So I will be there if I need to be.
And there could be a budget hearing on the 29th too, that you would attend.
Yes,
Okay, and then the 30th, they approve it, so they like bring it right down to the wire.
last year, I think, for the current year, I think it was into July. So we'll see. This will probably come back again next month at the board meeting. As the legislature will have wrapped up by then, we'll know exactly what guidance they're gonna come back with. So this could change.
And, do you expect anything will change depending on the outcome of the legislature? Or they have the really bad bills been cut, and is it looking pretty good?
I been following the other bill more closely than this one, and I know as of the end of last week, which was the first week of the session, they hadn't even touched any of this stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't,
the one bill that eliminated property taxes, that's done, yeah. Yay. Yes.
that doesn't mean that the citizens initiative that would be on the November ballot goes away. There will still be, even if the legislature doesn't do anything for July 1, the initiative on ballot in November could reduce property taxes another 25%. And the hope there is that residents across the state have seen how devastating 25% was, that another 25% isn't 10 bucks, but we'll see.
Okay, any other questions?
One, and maybe we'll address this at the March meeting, but if you do present to the commissioners in person, please let me know if, or us know if it'd be nice to have a board member.
Sure.
So the room represent.
In the past, we might have to do that.
Great.
You're all welcome. Show support.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve the FY 27 budget?
I will so move.
Thank you, Vicky, a second. Did the whole thing, or? Oh, yeah.
I particularly like the notation with permission for staff to make minor
Why don't
corrections.
you go
as
ahead
needed.
and read this again?
Okay, I move to approve the fiscal year 27 budget for submission with permission for staff to make minor corrections as needed.
Second. Okay, seconded. All in favor?
I
Thank you.
Right. So we did ask Elizabeth and Miles to bring us a couple of interesting tidbits from the Better Board training, just to refresh our memories about how boards can function according to the law. Elizabeth?
Sure. It was a very interesting training. I particularly enjoyed having other board members of different boards present and hearing about their boards. It definitely was a reminder to me and highlighted that we're responsible for the oversight of a lot of money that a lot of the other boards are not. So just reiterating the responsibility that we have there. I would say Mr. Gingrey in particular told us some very scary stories. And regarding just financial mismanagement and errors like that. So it really did hit home the importance there. And so I just really want to credit you for your role as treasurer tag. And I will be able to join you at one of these points because it is really important to me to be better connected to that. So I'd say that was one of my main takeaways, and it also just really highlighted to me the importance for board member recruitment and thinking about that as we move forward so that we continue to have great applicants lined up.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Miles?
Thank you.
Would add, yeah, just some of the fraud or things just being missed that they had examples of, just like the more eyes being able to look at it as massive things, like really big things were caught. And so would echo wanting to be able to do this signing days with beautiful points. The difference between all the different types of meetings and how you always remind us, like we meet, three of us separately. And kind of all the legal statute that like does really exist there. I could get into trouble of calling the right type of meeting and like how different a special meeting is, and just the importance of keeping these open to the public and accessible and listed as something they don't have. Yeah, but definitely learned a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I think since we have the county doing our accounting for us and are managing our funds, there's less opportunity for fraud. We don't have our own checkbook any longer, own bank accounts that Peg can't lead to them through libraries, bank accounts or anything.
Yeah, I'd add to that, because of course, right, we have full trust in Peg, we have full trust in you all, but from a governance perspective. I think the term that was on one of the slides, was stating that it might be worth having an informal devil's advocate officer. We're sort of implying that, not that anyone wants to be a squeaky wheel or come with negativity, but just that sometimes intentionally kind of always having that in mind, like what would the public say if they don't hear, or what would someone say if they don't have those relationships that we have? So that was very interesting.
And it did, when we have those budget items of like the credit card expenses that are just kind of nebulous.
Yeah.
That I think we both were like, maybe we should ask more what those breakdowns are and good accounting.
Well, that's why
The ones we're not able to see direct, but it's important.
That's why you guys need to work with Peg to see what she does, because Kip and Stella go over this with a fine tooth comb, and then she does too. And it takes a long time.
And Estella and Peg have really improved that report to the board. That's really appreciate, Lindsay's been doing spreadsheets that helps that get streams. But I think there was this thought that you just say, look, there's a credit card bill that you sign off, but actually have to look at every charge for every person. It's the most cumbersome part of.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's so crucial. Estella.
I was gonna say, actually, maybe we should talk to him about this, but, I know at previous library, we did sometimes have board members, it was open to the table that it doesn't just have to be in preparation for a board meeting, but if at any point in any month, you're just curious, like, hey, what was the credit cards? You know, if you wanted to set up a meeting, again, not a quorum, but just to, you know, if any of you ever want to just curious, like, hey, what does a typical month look like? I'm more than happy to sit down with you on a one-on-one and just go through credit cards or what have you. So, you
So I had a question on that. Do other departments do that similar kind of voucher review with their board, their treasurer and their board? Because it almost seems like the county could have a workshop about for the public, have power and vouchers review. Is it more broad than just the library? I'm not sure.
So all county departments do have the voucher process. Our vouchers actually look a little bit slightly different than the counties do because of the fact that we have board approval. So when we went with county accounting, I did work with Mo on just modifying what our voucher had looked like previously when we were independent in terms of accounting. And making it so that it meshed a little bit more with what the county clerk's office needed in terms of what they need to record on the vouchers, the paper voucher. But I do know that all county departments do have a voucher process because the commissioners meet to pay or approve vouchers twice a month. The rest of the county departments, they have a vouchering process available twice a month. In terms of the other county entities that have boards, I don't know the answer to that, to your question in terms of what that looks like specifically with their boards and vouchering process.
It would be like fire EMS,
Weed and past.
and Whedon Pest and Fairbury. Their people have a little. Parks and Rec.
Okay. Speaking of curiosity, Kip did provide this salary plan structure, and we're wondering if you could just give us a little overview of that, Kip, so that we can understand sort of salaries a little better.
Sure. The library has been with the county HR services. I'm not sure exactly how long. Predates again, Stella and myself. But as part of that, whenever we joined with the county HR, we said we would agree to their pay scale and their benefits package and things like that. So about 3 years ago now, the county said it was time to do a new compensation and classification study. And so they put out a contract, a bid, the contract, and a company called One Digital was the award recipient of that contract. And they came in and initially started to look at how we compare to other Wyoming counties, and that quickly went out the window. So they found a number of resort towns, mountain resort towns, mostly here in the Intermountain West that, were comparators to us, so like Vale and Steamboat Springs and, I can't think of all of them off the top of my head right now, but there were a number of them. And so they came up with a new, compensation plan that was more competitive. The county was quickly falling behind, other employers in the county here. And so retention and recruitment were all very difficult. So they established a whole new system. We used to be on a step plan. I think there were, I don't know, 29, 30 different grades. And then it was what, 10 steps or 20 steps?
16
16.
when I was.
It didn't really, it doesn't function very well. And people were, if you stay very long with the employer, you maxed out and aren't seeing any raises or anything. So they developed this new plan that has how many grades? 12? No, 16, 13? I can't remember. I should know there. 13 grades. And that's down from however many, 29, 30 different grades. And so the old plan had some compression issues. The new plan, as we lived through it, has some obvious compression problems as well, but overall, it's a much better plan than what we were working under. As long as the commissioners are committed to making the plan work, which is the annual cost of living, and the annual merit changes, and those are supposed to keep us competitive with the market if we continue to follow that. For the library, most staff fall within grades 3 and 4, mostly grade 3. And so there are some compression issues that we're currently working with HR to try and address. The senior library assistants and the program coordinators. We've come up with a way to make it sort of work, but it's still kind of broken. And so we're having HR meet with the consultants to address some of that. There's probably a domino effect that happens. And so I don't know if we'll be able to address it until the next time a full common class study is done. But when we open in, actually, I think it's the last page. You'll see the page in color that has wages on it. When we hire somebody, mainly department heads and hiring managers in the library can hire anybody at the minimum and up to the Q2 amount. The department director can go as high as the midpoint if there's a case to be made for hiring someone who has some expertise that you really want. And so we can go a little higher as a department director. Anything above midpoint requires a visit to HR and commissioners. And right now, I would say most people in the library, if you've been here probably 4 years or longer, you're probably past the midpoint now. We do have 2 employees one employee now who is maxed out. They've been here so long that even with this plan, they are maxed out, so they get an annual bonus instead of a merit increase.
So that 3% increase, you're able to do it as a bonus, but not go up.
Yeah, they can't go with that. So
They can get the COLA.
they get the COLA, yeah. But overall, unlike the old plan, no one, for the most part, is ever gonna be able to max out. Because the plan keeps advancing forward every year with the increases. Right now, we have a good group of commissioners who understand that retention and recruitment is important for the county. And so they are supportive of this plan and we'll see what the next group brings to us, but
I like what you're sharing. It's really interesting. Been a boss for a very long time. This is strictly salary. It's not dealing with PTO and other credits.
no,
That's always the funny part that people forget about.
this is just wages.
Yeah, deductions come out of there for, all of those taxes at FICA.
Oh, yeah,
All that.
you do social security, FICA, Medicare, all of that comes out.
With time in, like, start up to
But-
vacations, whatever, and then you've got family and cover. You know, so I just know that that's a huge chunk of compensation. So this
There is a-
strictly salary.
There is exact title, there's an HR personnel policy committee comprised of employees across the county who meet and review the policy manual and make recommendations and update that every year. So since I've been here, we've gone from most employees starting out at 2 weeks of vacation to starting out at 3 weeks vacation. After 3 years of employment, you bump up another week. We've added 4 wellness days that people can use however they choose to use those. You earn approximately 1 day of sick time per month. You have all of your health care. County pays 100% of those premiums. You do have some deductibles, but the county contributes. I think Wyoming retirement requires 17% of your salary to be contributed, and I think the county pays about 14% of that. So we contribute 3% of our salary. And to Wyoming retirement, the county pays the rest of that. And
It's really good. that
the
they're-
benefits
We
package,
need to apply.
the benefits package is one you can't compare.
I don't know that.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks very much. Are there any more? Oh, I have,
Actually, I was gonna ask if you wanted to update us on HB10. Do you know anything?
well, I can tell you what I'm thinking, and you can shoot, you can say what you're thinking. I'm thinking it's gonna pass the House. And of our, like our representatives and senators in the House, I think they all will vote against introduction or, moving it to the Senate, except for Dan Boxstetter. And I think attention should be focused on him. I've already written to him. And I didn't hear back. My husband thanked him for supporting the public plans, SJ resolution, and he wrote right back to my husband saying thank you for thanking him, but I did not hear that. We'll see. That's my thinking. I'm not gonna reject if it's gonna make it through this session or not. I'm really not sure. Would you share my?
I think you're probably right. I think it's going to pass the House and maybe this week. And then it's on to the Senate, and I think that's the only opportunity we have. Because I don't think House
I
really
felt like it
cares.
has more power when it was just the Judiciary Committee and we were trying to just get rid of it right off the bat, but I felt like once it made it to the House, that we were doomed in the House with that legislation, and So maybe the Senate and maybe the Black Ton could save us, but we'll see. And that brings up another point. We don't have an attorney yet, the county attorney's library.
Keith is still assigned to us.
Oh, we have Keith's our attorney.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we might need them. So,
And at the training, when I spoke with him, I asked some questions and he was so lovely. He said,
yeah,
if you have any questions.
everybody complains about Keith, but I have great report. Let's see.
What? Can someone outside of a docksiders,
Yeah, you can certainly write so that maybe you like don't need, because they just get so much mail. And so if you can indicate that you live in their district, it's helpful.
but I don't,
Yeah, right.
that's the problem. I did anyway. I wrote to them all anyway, but you really didn't get.
You're able to comment directly on the bill. The legislator's site gives you only 140 characters, but you can comment directly. It says it goes to every single legislator there, but the 140 characters is very. It's like,
Yeah, this is.
And honestly, that's about all I need to try.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't. They get a full on now, so, yeah, you have to be careful, judicious. Anything else? All good? Oh, one other thing. Should we, give a little preview of our next meeting that we're gonna talk about strategic planning? Are we sure of that for the next meeting?
That's the plan.
Yeah, so
We
I
started
wanna-
discussing it in leadership this week.
Yeah, could you explain what we're thinking?
Well, we're getting toward the end of the current strategic plan. We haven't updated the board on the current one in a while. So we want to go through and update you on where we are in the current strategic plan, what we've accomplished that we haven't reported out on, and talk about what direction we want to go with the next strategic plan, or what a hint here might be that our preview is that we probably want to do a refresh of what we have rather than going through the 6 to 12 month long process and end up with the same priorities as we currently have. So I think we do want to talk to the community, survey the community, ask doing things like that. But I think almost every library strategic plan is going to end up with a lot of, they're all going to have the same priorities that we currently have. It's just how do we move those forward?
Yeah, so if everyone, Kip will bring a report, the staff report, and then we'll have an opportunity to give our input as well. So if you have any questions or ideas or thoughts that you want to bring to strategic planning, we're going to do that in March. Great.
And since that's already public, we can review that now.
Yeah,
Great. So it's nice to have some time to review all these materials and.
it's on the
Yeah, I'm from.
website. Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Yeah, it's hard, it's kind of hard to find, but it is there. Because you expect it to be under plans and it's not there, like you have to look. I don't know, I thought it was a little.
Actually, no, I don't access it that way, so.
Yeah, right. Okay, then we will adjourn. Anybody, would anyone like? We'll make it. I move to adjourn this February 19, 2026 regular meeting. Is there a second? I have a second. Thank you, Elizabeth. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, Diana.
Yeah.